renting that house in Colfax.
That was
probably.
Grandma's house.
That was,
Grandma Davis's
We
house.
didn't have parents.
you mean Grace,
Didn't we?
I don't know, I don't remember.
I don't suppose
don't
we
think we
did.
did.
Grace Davis's house or her
Yes,
mother's?
no, it was hers.
What in the heck, she have
Well-
a town and a house, or a house in town and
Well-
live on the farm?
Grandpa Davis, George Davis, Faye Davis's dad,
Yes.
Jess. Yeah, Jess, that's right. His wife died. And then he moved to town so that, no, he moved to town before his wife died because Grandma Davis was tired of living with them and having kids, you know, out there on the farm. So they got this house in Colfax and moved to town. And then she died, and then he remarried, you know, a few years later. And then they had that house. I mean, it just was there. I mean, they rented it then after he died. And then, I don't know, I suppose they just kept it because it brought a little bit of money in. I don't know how that turned out to be your mother's. It was probably had something to do with that three-corner patch, that she inherited a little bit of money, and so she bought that three-corner patch. And so maybe then the house somewhere. I don't remember.
Did, okay, I remember you telling me some stories about, when you were both married and single, or didn't have children there in 40, 41 or whatever, and, I think for fun, what you always did, you did a lot of drinking Cokes and smoking cigarettes,
Yeah.
and you used to go to the pool hall, all the time, didn't you?
Mhm.
Yeah. Did Mom go to the pool hall with you?
No, women weren't allowed in there.
So that was the boys, that's where the boys went.
That's where the boys went.
That's where the boys went.
What was that couple's name? They come out, you guys played pool, and the wife came and stayed with me. And then we played cards after you come back.
Mines,
Yes,
Mines.
Ken Mines. Catherine, was that her name? Yeah, that was, and that was on the weekends, I think, like on Saturday nights that we did that. That was fun. They go out and play pool, and she and I'd sit around and talk. I don't know what we did besides that.
Smoke was thick in there, you couldn't hardly see the pool table.
There, but you didn't drink much, nobody drank much back then, did they? I mean, these kids just, I mean, you were 21 at the time, I guess, but not, did many of your buddies, they didn't drink much beer or anything, did they? I wonder why. Wonder what they do now they didn't then, I don't know.
No.
In the little towns, they didn't so much. Back in the cities, they did. Back in Chicago and
Well, they
everything.
had a tavern there, and the guys would go up there sometimes and drink. When we was dating, why, we girls would go past the tavern and we'd see these guys that we knew in there.
Mhm.
But we never drank when they was with us, and it wasn't very often.
Mhm. Just
And I suppose there was groups of people that did more than the group that we knew.
Yeah. And it was a small town. It was
Yes,
just,
I don't know, the guys I run around with, we just didn't drink beer or anything.
Did you know anybody?
We wouldn't arrest her, and we just ordered a Coke. a
Well, I've
sandwich.
seen you sit there at whatchamacallit, and you was kind of bleary-eyed looking.
Where at?
There at Jim Brooks's.
Well, you can't get that way on a Coke.
Well, it wasn't Coke.
I
Now, I suppose
I'm
that
probably just making you
think of that. You
showing
just-
off.
Oh, I suppose so. Well, anyhow, it wasn't often enough that it ever killed you.
Okay, let's see. How much further do you want to go? You want to go through the war and then quit, or you want
Quit
And
now.
whenever you get tired of listening to it, that's why probably, Shirley wanted to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Says,
to?
"Where's
Who's
Willie?"
that show on where? I think it came on at 8, which would be 9 here. Why don't we kind of go through the war and then stop, maybe?
Hmm.
And, don't know how much the
It
war,
took about 3 or 4 years.
yeah, but I don't know how much detail there was in there. I wanna get to the, you know, I wanna quit there and get to the exciting part when I was born, I mean.
Oh, you wanna get that down tonight?
No, not tonight.
Oh, thank
We'll
goodness.
save that when we're fresh, that's.
Yeah,
real
that'd be
important.
nice.
But, I know you went off to, you said in August of 42?
Well, I got my notice in August, I think then, what, we had 30 days then, and then I went in September,
Probably so.
September something,
That's about when I went too. I
went to
went
Indianapolis.
September 32?
No, not 42. September, about 70, 20 years later, 30 years later.
You know, I was thinking about that not long ago. You never belonged to the Legion, have you?
Mm-mm.
Now, he belongs to the Legion, but he don't go. I don't
I
know why.
belong to Sigma Pi.
Yeah.
That was a greater time in your life than the service ever was, wasn't it?
Lot greater. And, you went to Indianapolis?
Indianapolis, and we got our orders, I think we got on a train in, went to Fort McClellan, Alabama, took 6 weeks training. And we went from there to, Camp Kilmer, New Jersey. Got all of our helmets and rifles and everything, and got on the boat. Went on the Lincoln Tunnel, and on the boat for 29 days.
So you got on a boat in New York? What,
It was the first boat to cross the Atlantic without a
Escort,
escort.
zigzag every 5 minutes.
Did it really?
Uh,
I remember you telling me about that boat. You hated that boat, I think, didn't you? Or
Well,
It's full.
13,800 of us on it.
Oh my goodness
Can you
gracious.
imagine if they sunk
Plus-
that sucker? Ooh.
Plus
They would've liked
Jeep,
to.
plus Jeeps and 6x6 and all the army equipment down in the hole.
Mhm.
When we got in Bombay and started unloading, that ship come up out of the water 35 feet.
Oh my goodness
And they had a
gracious.
marker on it. We come back from, we got a pass, went downtown Bombay and come back and we could see our ship up above all the buildings. It just, it's unbelievable.
Hmm. Hmm. That would have been in what? Maybe summer of 42 or something?
Yeah, get over there in November, it's the, wait a minute.
You went in
Oh, get over
September.
there, I spent the first Christmas over there, we get over around sometime December.
Well, you mean, you went to basic training in September and you were in India 3 months later?
Mhm. And didn't come home
For 2.5, 3.5 years.
2.5 years or 3.5.
3.5.
3.5 years.
And you were in
I
Bombay.
was over in India 2.5 years.
2.5 is okay.
Wait a minute, yeah. I was in the army 3.5 years.
Okay, well, it's 2.5 years over in India.
It was only in the army, what, 3 or 4 months?
After
I don't
you
know.
go. We'd have to count that. We got some papers around here and some little letters and notes and stuff that, and he did write down some stuff when he come home from the army. It's not very much, but we could figure out exact dates, how long he was here and there and what he did do.
So he was in India for a couple of years and then he came back
Two
and
and a half
then
years in India.
2.5 years and then
And
was
I
he
was in,
discharged?
I was in
You was nursing school.
during that time.
Mm-hmm.
In Terre Haute mostly.
I always in Terre Haute then. Because the nun had been transferred from St. Elizabeth to St. Anthony's.
They know you was married then?
Yes, I call her. Oh, yeah, she knew when I had my baby and all that. She was very human about, they threatened us about getting married and stuff, but she was a little soft.
Mm-hmm.
And she was really nice to me. Well, honey, you shouldn't be crying because you're leaving. You're gonna get married. I told her I was gonna get married. I didn't tell her I was married. And she kept fishing around among these nurses, that I'm good friends with, after I left. And kept fishing till she found out that I had run off and got married.
So on the way back, we got on an airplane to Karachi, to Iran, to Cairo, Egypt, to
Did you stop in those places?
Yeah, a couple of days at a time, and then down to Dakar in West Africa, and then across to South America, and into Florida, and to Indianapolis.
Didn't
Then
you?
we come back to Florida for 2 weeks.
Didn't Mom came down and met you somewhere? And where at?
She come back to Florida with me.
Okay, you flew to Indianapolis, then you picked her up and drove back to Florida.
We went on a train to Florida.
He was at home with his dad and mom
Yeah, for a while.
for a while, and then he got well, he had time, he'd been in the service and hadn't got all of his leaves. Does this happen to you when you get tired?
Mm-hmm, you kind of congested.
Well, at the hospital when I first came back to Miami.
How come?
Oh, I had diarrhea and I don't know what all. Got on my weight, what, 126 pounds?
I think.
I didn't have a stomach. The shorts about to fall off of me. I was skinny.
Well, you're skinny for a long time.
And they run all kinds of tests, and I said, I haven't been home. They want to keep me longer. I said, I haven't been home for 2.5 years. I want to go. Which was the wrong thing to do.
Why?
Well, they might have found something to cure me.
Oh, okay.
I was bothered with it then for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indian bug.
I
Huh?
don't know, bug or something.
Then,
I never did get malaria, though. A lot of them did.
okay, then you and Mom went by train back to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you stay down there?
It was a milk wagon train. Is that what they call them, the kind of train? Stop in every,
Little town.
yeah, pick up water, and it was an ancient train, ancient. And you just sat there and you rode and you rode and you rode, and we didn't have to lay down to go to sleep, did we?
I don't know. We got to Florida sometime.
We played cards with the people in the train. I don't know how long it took us to get to Florida, but I don't think we had any place to lay down. I think we just laid back in our seat and slept.
And put us up in St. Moritz Motel in Miami Beach.
Just like millionaires.
How long?
All kinds.
2 weeks.
Is that
All
right?
kinds of hobbies, any hobby, any crap they had set up for
Deep
this.
sea fishing, got sunburn.
This is the Army sponsored this? Since you've been in
It was one of the best holidays we ever had.
Hmm,
On the
I
beach.
think so.
The hotel was right out there on that beach.
I think that cost her part for 2 weeks is $19.
Mm.
It was really on Easy
So
Street.
that was your leave, basically.
And every day we'd go down to
R&R
lunch.
or something.
Yeah.
There was a boat on our table full of the most luscious radishes and made in roses or balls and there was olives, big old ripe olives, and gosh, we weren't used to eating ripe olives. And all of us that sat down at this table, it was a relish tray, just crumb piled. And we just start eating that stuff the minute we sat down. And they had wonderful food. It was just like eating at a hotel, you know. Beautiful time. We played cards, stay up all night and play cards, and go out and swim and play in that sand. And
Sounds like fun, let's go.
yeah, but the army paid for it. That's what made it all more fun.
What, say you went deep sea fishing and everything, huh?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
You went deep sea fishing?
Only one.
I think it's once.
You used to like to fish when you were a kid, didn't you?
Yeah, but first got married again.
Yeah, we were-
Used to go up there to the lake below the dam.
Uh-huh. Well, you went to Wisconsin too. Well, that was later on. But
Yeah, I really never did too, I don't know.
But it seemed he really liked it, and then he quit for some reason. I don't know.
Well,
I
he
can't remember.
liked it, it seemed like before he went to the army.
Yeah.
But he changed an awful lot after when he went to the army and then come back home. He was a changed person, just so different. But anyhow, especially about his fishing thing, because you and Jack Boots used to go out and fish in the gravel pit. And Betty and I'd go along with him, we just had a great time. And then he never had anything to do with it, and finally, when he come home from the army, one time we was out on the lake, he and I were on a boat. Well, neither one of us really knew anything about a boat, because we knew, our parents had never done that sort of thing, and we weren't taught how to enjoy
Well,
something.
you knew how to swim, didn't you?
Very little.
But Dad didn't know how to swim at
No,
all, did he?
uh-uh. And we was out there in this boat, we're not too far from shore and everything, and I remember him looking at me, he says, I know that you like this, but I wanna go back in, I don't like it. And it was one of those lakes, and really it was a big enough lake that it could've come up with a squall, and dumped us, I don't know, we would've been lost,
Well, if you
But we
don't know how to
were in.
swim, that'd scare me too, probably.
you know?
But I remember, Dad, you never have like lakes or water since, have you, much?
Mm-mm. You didn't want any part of it.
Those, 13,000 people that got off that boat, did they stay all there right around where you was at, or did they move out?
We went all different places.
Where'd you go?
I went to, Duma,
Who?
Debriga, and, there's an air base there where it was, you know, they load up the plane and fly stuff over to China, close to Burma Road.
Yeah, 'cause that was, the trail that took all the supplies up to.
Well, they used to haul them over by truck, they'd go over the Burma Road, and then they,
Fly the hump,
and later on, why they'd fly the hump.
yeah, over the Himalayas to get, where was they fighting at mostly? They weren't fighting much in India, were they?
Not, well, the Japanese invaded, they got about within 100 miles from where I was at. And the English really brought us back to Burma. And when I first got there, we'd have red alerts all the time, the Japanese come on, drop a bomb here and there. I got a silver, bronze star, I don't even work that.
Yeah. Is it bronze or silver? There's some kind of star like metal in it. No, that was a
It
band.
wasn't very big, but
What's
Well,
it, what's
let
it
me
for?
tell you
For being in a combat situation or something? Cause you didn't get wounded,
laying
though,
on
did you?
top of the ground.
No.
I wasn't even in foxhole or hole or anything.
Yeah,
There was a bomb landed about 2 miles from where it was at.
yeah.
Anyhow, he was in a war zone, he'd get a bronze star.
Uh-huh.
Scary when you first got there and didn't even know what a red alert was.
Yeah.
Somebody hollered red alert and we'd look around, people would be running and wondering what the hell's the matter with them. Nobody told us anything.
And after he's here,
Just basic training though I ever had, see, and took us over there.
Yeah.
the first year he was there, he had a leave. And he and 2 or 3 other guys went up in the mountains to it's kind of a cottage setting, wasn't it, or something?
Oh, it's sort of a resort.
Resort. That was there.
British and Australian soldiers there. I drove a army captain, I don't know, about 400 miles in an old British truck, and you know how their trucks look, it's funny looking. I drove it. I don't even know where we went for something, I don't know, I want somebody driving. We'd stop every so often, be British along the road, and then stop and have a cup of tea.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But
You were mainly a mechanic over there, weren't you?
parts, wasn't it parts too?
Well, we overhauling truckload of Jeeps.
I thought there was a time
Then we
thing,
had supply, we had
supply.
done all different things.
But it wasn't any fun.
2.5 years. They didn't fly you back for leave like they did me, huh? Let's see. Remember you telling about the monkeys over there in India? You used to see monkeys. You see some snakes too, didn't you?
With the snake charmers on the street,
Mm.
come up out of a basket and
It's fascinated
And
me.
they'd turn those mongoose loose and let them fight the snakes. Everybody, all of it just back up and they'll snake them out of the basket.
There. What'd you eat over there? Not the army had their own food, I guess.
Yeah, about all canned stuff and powdered eggs and all that stuff. Spam.
Mm-hmm. SOS. Yeah.
SOS, what's that?
Shit on a shingle.
Oh, I guess not. What is shit on the shingle?
Yeah, there's gravy and stuff on it.
Same old shit.
Yeah, same old shit.
Chipped beef, isn't
Chipped
it?
beef, I think, on the
Oh.
gravy and stuff
Oh.
on toast or something.
Like cream dried beef?
I don't know. I know a lot of breakfast got sort of have scrambled eggs and pancakes and stuff. They're the same old stuff all the time. But on holidays and a chip over turkey, and you always have a good Thanksgiving or Christmas
Yeah.
dinner. Spent three Christmases right in the same area.
Yeah, you pretty well stayed in that same area, didn't you? Where did you live in a barracks or in a tent or what?
Tents and bamboo,
Rooms?
don't call them, I forget what to call them, but it's made out of bamboo with grass roofs.
Is that right, grass roof?
It, you know, it shed the water though, the
Right.
monsoon.
Have, single beds with springs and
Rope bed.
rope beds? You slept in a rope bed for 2.5 years? Golly.
Mosquito net over you.
With a mosquito net, huh?
And after one guy found a snake in his bed, we all would, before we go to bed, we'd flip the covers back. He found a snake, it's the most deadliest snake over there, and they're little, about like our garter
Little
snake.
green job.
They're crate they call them, and they're deadly.
Hmm.
I went out to the latrine one night, flashlight, and saw one that had a frog in its mouth.
I bet you was glad it had a frog in its mouth.
I'm glad to have a flashlight too.
Hmm.
I wouldn't even sit on the toilet seat at the tent. We had old, you know, old toilets we had, with a bunch of seats with a hole in the ground. And one kid from Tennessee got the duty of cleaning one up one time. He threw gasoline. Threw a match in and blew the whole damn thing apart. And you could just sound like a bomb. We were about 2 miles from headquarters. They called up, wondering what that noise was.
I bet that was a mess.
That kid, he's red-headed and red-faced. He come running out of there. He's almost white when he go out there. He was scared to death of an officer.
That wasn't the fellow we visited then.
You know,
That wasn't the fellow we visited, he and his family. Do you remember going to those people's home down in the south? What's that, Tennessee, where we
yeah,
went?
close to Chattanooga, Cleveland, Tennessee.
Oh, I know where that is.
You remember playing with the
We
kids?
took you down there with us when we went to
And
visit.
Steve and you rode with that, they had a little boy in the
About your age.
wagon.
He was
And,
smoking cigarettes. And,
and
I don't really remember it.
you know, well, it was on one of our trips, we stopped there, hunted up this
Oh
soldier.
my
guy.
God, we got 2 hours of trips to talk about here.
Oh, no.
What
Well, I just
Oh.
saying that, we got so many, you got so many
Oh.
trips that we used to take that.
But we can't, well, the thing is, we ought to get together on this and go through what little pieces of paper I have that fits in with the different things, and for me to find them and get them.
you mean you could find it?
Mom, you spend more time looking for them.
I know, I never get the thing together.